Alleluia. Om Mani Padme. Om Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity. And today we're speaking with Nitin Doshi. He's the president of the Melbourne Shwetambar Jain Sangh. Thanks for coming in, Nitin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First, before we start, we'll need to define Jain. Can you tell me a little bit about what it is to be a Jain? What is Jainism?
Before we talk about Jain as a religion, let us first understand the word religion. For many, many years, thousands of years, people have got nourished different notion about the word religion and held them. The religion is not a cult or a creed. Religion is not a system of any particular community or society.
Right.
Religion is not related to any specific individual, group of individual. Religion is not confined to any particular space or area.
Yep.
The Lord Mahavir has defined the world. What we call dharma means religion very well. Essential and pure nature of individual or the object is religion.
Okay.
I'll repeat. Essential and pure nature of individual or an object is a religion. Let me give you an example. What is the essential nature of fire?
Burns and it's hot.
To burn something. And what is the essential nature of water?
It puts the fire out.
Put fire out.
That's right. Yeah.
And what is the essential nature of the soul or Atma?
It's the essential nature is the penetration of all being, I guess. It's the center.
The essential nature of the Atma or the soul is to seek self-liberation or salvation.
Yes.
So, religion is not about any particular group, as I said. It is about whatever your pure nature is.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Mahavir has defined this very well just in one sentence. Coming to the Jainism. First of all, let me first say what is Jain or Jin. For soul's liberation, we need to have two things that is sort of stopping us from liberating.
Yep.
One is attachment and one is hatred. And the Jin or Jineshwar as we call. Jin means victor.
Okay.
Or a conqueror. And Jain has conquered these two, what we or Jainism calls inner enemies.
Okay. Yeah.
So those two inner enemies are basically impediments to the salvation or the liberation.
Okay.
And Jains have conquered them.
Okay.
Jain or Jineshwar were individuals like you and me. But they have followed a certain path and achieved the liberation
Yep.
by conquering these two inner enemies. And the path that they have shown is to liberate. For any soul can liberate.
Yeah.
And those who follow that path are Jain.
Okay. Right.
For example, those who follow Buddha are known as Buddhist.
Yes.
Those who follow Jin are called Jain.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Similarly, for Hindu, from religion point of view, they call Hinduism. Similarly, Jain, it's called Jainism.
Yeah.
So these are the commonly used terminology for the Jain religion.
And anybody who chooses to follow that path can become a Jain. Is that right?
Absolutely. Jainism, as I defined, as a religion defined before, it is not restricted to any individual or a group of individual. You do not have to be necessarily born in a Jain family. Anybody and everybody, those who are willing to follow the path shown by the Tirthankara or the Jin, they are Jain.
Yeah, Jain. Yeah.
And absolutely no conversion required.
Well, that's a little bit of an understatement. I think actually to live within the principles of strict Jainism, there needs to be some conversion, because your principles are very, very, very finely defined and need to be adhered to. What are they? What's the basic core principle for Jainism, would you say?
Before we even talk about the core principle, I would like to highlight some of the peculiarities or features of Jainism.
Please do.
Many religions think that the God is a creator
Yes.
or protector. But Jainism has got a different view. Jainism does not endorse that view that God is a creator or a protector.
Creator. Now, I'm not going to take issue with Jainism, but God would have taken time to create the world, and we're out of it right now. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Nitin Doshi. He's a Jain, and we're talking about the Jain concept of creator. Before the break, you mentioned that you don't have a tribute to the divine, the creating capacity. How does that work?
As I said, Jainism does not endorse the view that God is a creator or a protector. Those whom we view as a God were normal individuals like you and me. Jainism believes that world did exist, does exist, and will exist. There is no creator. Let's think about logically. If the God is a creator, the question arises, who created the God? That is the first.
The first one, yep.
Second, I expect all the gods to be kind and caring. And if the God is a creator, then how do we have a blind child taking birth? What has that blind child has done? So in that sense, Jainism does not endorse that view. This is the where Jainism differs from many other religions.
Yeah.
Second thing about the protector is the same thing. Jainism believes in a karma theory. And everything that happens to our life depends on the our past and present karma.
Okay. Yeah.
So even if a child taking birth and blind, it is his or her past karma that is influencing what is happening to his or her life now.
Okay. Right. And in karma can be corrected?
Can be. More than the corrected is if we have collected some good or bad karma, some karma you can get rid of. But you have to take some action in this life to get rid of those karma, what we call nirjara. So yes, you can. The short answer is yes, some karmas you can.
And the one which you can't, does that run with the family line?
That you have to live with it. And whatever is the happiness or the suffering that goes with it, you will have to go through it. If not this life, next life.
Okay.
So that gets carried forward per se.
And it's just simply the acceptance of and the living
That's
with.
correct.
Yeah. That acceptance of and living with, the traditional Jain priest has a fairly intense understanding of that.
Yeah, that is correct.
Very ascetic.
I mean, the Jainism has defined karma to a great extent. I mean, there are so many books written on the karma theory, and some of the books run into 400-500 pages.
Yes.
With each of the karmas categorized and sliced and diced to get a greater understanding of the karma theory.
Yeah, part of the karma theory, when we had some previous discussions, which interested me, was the fact that Jains in India are regarded as fairly successful businessmen in the main. Now, how does karma fit into that? The rising to success. What's the story there?
Good question. Obviously, if you do good karma, it brings some material happiness per se to start.
Yes.
I mean that the inner happiness is another part, but if you do some good karma, and quite a few Jains have been doing some good karma because of the knowledge, because of the religion that they follow, because of the principles that they follow, and because of the gurus and the priest that they preach.
Yeah.
It influences the lives of many Jains, and a lot of Jains do a lot of good karma.
Well, ahimsa is the pathway to good karma, isn't it? To what extent does that go? It's every living creature of peace and non-harm to all of it. Insects, the lot.
Non-violence is a non-compromising. Jainism does not compromise non-violence in any way. And when we talk about the non-violence, it is for all the living beings in this earth. So it is not necessarily just for human or some animals. It also goes all the way to the plants and vegetables.
Yeah. So a mosquito. There's a mosquito in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reach out for the insect spray. What's the alternative to that?
There are always alternatives. First thing is, there is a mosquito, and mosquito is allowed to have his own space, or the same way that you and I have got space, they have got the space. They have come in your house. There are ways you can deter them, or you can avoid them. You are welcome to use the mosquito net while you sleep, and mosquito won't bother you. Now, if you use the spray, it is very clear in your mind that you want to kill.
That's right.
It is the intention that matters.
Yeah.
For example, if I'm walking on the road and without intention, I may kill some ants, which is also walking. I did not notice, and I step over it, and it got killed. But that was not my intention.
Yeah.
Whereas here, by you spraying on the mosquito, your intention is to kill.
Yes.
So both the action has killed. I have killed an ant, and you have killed a mosquito. Both of us have committed the sin.
Yeah.
But mine is different sin to yours.
And if I keep going, I'll commit the sin of going over time. So we'll be back in a moment.
Mani Allah. Hallelujah. Mani Allah.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity. And we're speaking with Nitin Doshi. He's a Jain. And we're just talking now about the fact that anybody can become a Jain. And there's a process. Tell us about it.
As I've said in the beginning of this program, that the Jainism is open to all. It is not restricted to any specific individuals, or you don't have to be born in a Jain family. You don't have to be living in or in India. You can be living any part of the world. As long as you believe in the principles of Jainism as shown by the Jains or the Tirthankara, you are basically following the Jainism principles. It is a different thing that you may or may not be able to follow all the principles to the finest details.
Yeah.
But your first intention or preparedness to follow the path,
Yeah.
that is the qualification you need to become a Jain.
It comes back to that intent that you were talking about in the last segment, where we're talking about whether the mosquito and the ant, the accidental and the intentional.
Yes, but here the intention is intention to follow the Jainism path as shown by the Jain.
Right. Intent.
As I said before, those whom we view as a god, or those Tirthankara, they were also individuals like you and me. And they followed this path all the way.
Yes.
And they have proved that they have achieved the liberation.
Yep.
And that is why they have become Tirthankara, and we view them as a god. Actually, every soul, your, mine, and everybody listening to this program, if they follow the path, which is a proven path,
Yep.
our soul, can become the god as per
Yeah.
Jainism.
Yeah.
So probably Jainism is unique in that sense that it gives license to everybody and everybody to become God.
Yes, it's a great distinction. And I think, as we talked before about the way in which you have an attitude towards judgment, where nothing is as it appears, there's always alternative options to it.
Jainism offered a great principle to this world, what is known as Anekantvad. That means you look at any subject, any object in a different way. Let me give an example. Nitin Doshi is a father. Nitin Doshi is a son. Nitin Doshi is a father-in-law. Is it all correct?
Yes.
It is correct. It is the context in which these statements are made.
Yeah, it depends where you're standing.
Depends where you're standing. I'll give another example. Somebody can say, Norman is clever. Somebody else says, no, Norman is not clever. Can that be true?
Yes.
Can be true. Because the first person said Norman is clever because Norman knows how to conduct interviews. And second person said Norman is not clever because he does not know how to speak Russian.
That's correct.
And this is the principle of Anekantvad. which teaches us the lesson of how to respect the thinking and the opinions of candid thinkers all around the world.
Yes, yes.
And it helps unity and the harmony in diversity,
Yes.
as the title of this program.
Yeah.
If everybody starts thinking on those lines, can you imagine the peace that we will have in this world?
That's right. Now, you've got, there's a story about an elephant or something that illustrates this as well, isn't it? With the holy men with a blindfolded or something?
Well, I mean, no, it's not the story about this particular principle, but Anekantvad teaches us, you look at, even sometimes what you see is not necessarily the true.
Yes.
It makes you think that there are multiple views of anything and everything. And it lets you think that, although I'm seeing it from this context, somebody else is seeing it from a different context.
Yes.
So it generates that respect in my mind for the other opinion. And once you start respecting somebody's opinion and think about it, this I did not think about it. Yes, this is also possible.
This has a massive potential for contribution to peacemaking. So do you find that Jains are prominent in any peace-type movements and actions, or do they, as part of the religious organisation?
I'm not aware of any such big peace movement where Jainism or representatives take place. There are some movements happening in India, but more than that is the Jainism. I mean, those who follow Jainism, they follow these principles.
Yes.
And by their own conduct, they are displaying to the world what that means and what that brings in terms of peace and prosperity that earlier you were talking about for the Jain community.
Yes, so it comes back to, it's all part of a karmic approach, isn't it, really?
It is.
Because it lays down a firm foundation to proceed on in a safe way. But just coming back to recap, one of the distinctive features is this respect for all matter. It's something which took me in our conversation was actually about walking on grass.
Yeah.
And so you were saying that you walking on grass, you will damage it, and it's a living being. Now, if you can't help but walk on it,
it's true. I mean, as we all live in this world, hurting or killing somebody.
You know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Because this is going to hurt and kill time if I don't say to you, could you come back next week? This is too big. This is too big. We've got to talk more about it.
Sure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Nitin. You've been watching Harmony and Diversity, and next week we'll be back speaking with Nitin Doshi again about Jainism. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu